Hello Internet, Hewlett here with another Burn and Learn, and oh boy, today, it was interminable today. I don't know what it was. It must have been because I just ate garbage all day in a mad rush, always just trying to stem, to stave off the headaches and the low blood sugar, and the children. So it just felt, I got like 10 minutes in, I was like, well, I've got to be probably more than halfway through now. And I look, I'm like, what's a quarter of the way through? I'm dying here. Anyway, so I got it done. This, for those of you who don't know, it's called a Burn and Learn. It is my bit to stay alive and fit long enough to raise my amazing son, who is homesick today, and enjoy the twilight years with my brilliant, beautiful wife, Jane. I hate exercise. It is so boring, and as it turns out, painful. So I like to learn something while I'm doing it, and I like to share what I've learned with you in the sweatiest way possible. Thus, this wonderful video before you now. And oh my God, I'm so hot. I'm like steaming up my glasses. So yeah, I just did like 46 minutes today, and with my arms a little lower on the torture device, so a little bit more sort of pressure on them. But it really just some days, and I think it really does come down to food and water. If you don't drink water, you don't eat the right food. It's a lot harder to exercise, and to want to. Like, I waited till the end of the day, mainly because of all this tech terror stuff. So tech terrors, yeah, let me tell you about that. So tech terrors today. Bratlet, as I say, unfortunately is home with a cold. He's sort of running hot and a bit croaky, so we just didn't think we should send him to school. And he's fine. You know, he looked after himself very well. Lots of jumping jacks, he tells me, while I was away, and maybe just a little bit of YouTube. I'd love to know that ratio. Like one jumping jack for every hour of YouTube. Anyways, but I had him working on the adaptive controller, and he was in his element. Like, it's, I know it's not always the easiest thing to get Bratlet inspired about the technology stuff, but he was really enjoying, and I think quite good at sort of figuring out what to put where and how to make things work once we sort of talked it through, and it was really just fun to watch. I then took it into the school, and I have one Xbox, and I have only one adaptive controller on that, and it was a freaking nightmare. Like, it truly was a failure. But you learn a lot from these failures. You have to, otherwise you leave depressed. I have left like downtrodden and crushed from these many times, and I'm not doing that anymore. I now come back and I go, okay, great. So we learned that doesn't work like that. I've got to come up with a better system for that. And I think the problem there was I went, well, Bradley really enjoyed figuring out what went where. Let's let 50 kids do the same thing. Not so easy. There's like one kid who's just hitting the button over and over again. So everyone else is trying to make it work, and he's just hitting the button. So there's just a lot of different personalities coming through, and I wanted to kill all of them. No, I mean, again, it's like even when you sit there going like, I gotta figure this out. Why is that appealing to them? So I think I'm just gonna have to come in better prepared for it. There were issues with the TDSB networks. Ugh. I'm assuming they must block stuff or just it's slow or something, but it's like it's a school in Canada. It should have like screaming fast internet, and you should be able to connect things like that. It drives me crazy. Every week we spend like so much time just figuring out the stupid internet and the Wi-Fi and stuff, which I think should just be there. I understand privacy and all those concerns, but it drives me nuts. Anyways, so that definitely, there was a fumble on that one for sure. But as I say, I think what if I come in with it set up and labeled and say, okay, go to it. I think that'll be easy, and I can assign specific people to specific tasks and then hold them apart to stop them from fighting each other to the death. So we also had the tech autopsy, which I'm calling it tech autopsy now rather than breaker space, because it brings out a finesse in people that breaker space sometimes doesn't. The number of tools I have to keep taking away. I walk home like jingling and jangling with all these tools in my pocket that I've confiscated from kids who are trying to stab, stab printers with them and things. But it was really fun today to see the ladies who basically, there's like 3 or 4 ladies who've really taken to this autopsy thing, and they are just dying to get every new section they go. She said to me today, she said, oh, you got to come over, we've opened up a whole new world. So they opened it up, there's a whole other section of things they'd found, motors and things, and a couple of them asked if they could take circuit boards that they'd removed carefully as opposed to breaking this time, if they could bring them home. And I thought that was just a great thing. So again, I think it's very easy to get like beaten up by these things, but I think part of that is you get beaten up and go like, okay, so how do we make this better? And and the adaptive controller is fantastic because your imagination, it really gets them going. So I'm really excited to get that back in. I'm going to look at, I need some more Xboxes. I mean, ideally, we've got 4 controllers. I think I'd love to get 4 Xbox Ones and get them set up so that so basically the whole class can be working on the entire group of terrors, the team terror can be working on it. So that was my morning, just fantastic. And again, I couldn't do it without Mike, Muscles Mike. Mike the Mule, who's always helping me carry stuff back and forth and has been handling the 3D printing stuff just beautifully. Yes, now I should talk about the learn part of my Burn to Learn. A little bit off track today. So instead of going to my book, I have to do some visual effects for this Who You Know movie that Jane produced and my new friend Jake wrote and directed. And so just for fun, I said I would do some effects. Originally, there was some sort of cool stuff with a necklace that was going to dissolve a body, and there was all that kind of cool stuff. They ended up cutting that scene before I even got a chance to try it. But now I get to do some rain and some snow, so I'm going to do that. And a little bit of masking and stuff. So what I wanted to do, because unless you're doing this stuff all the time, it's kind of like a language. Unless you use it every day, you forget. So I hopped onto the internet and started doing a whole bunch of stuff on compositing and rotoscope and masks and stuff, which is basically just a matter of manipulating layers so that you see some things and other things. And then as it gets more complicated, you can get it sort of adjusting them in a 3D way so that they tie better into the scene you're doing. And it's just so cool. And I'm sure I will be making desperate calls to Aaron at Red Giant saying, how do I do this? And it's all in 4K, which I've never worked with before, so I'm curious to see how that's gonna work out. But really enjoying that. Red Giant has this particular plug-in which creates particles that you can then turn into swirling snow or rain or anything you want like that. So that's what I'll be working on next. I have another meeting with my friends at Shaftesbury, my fellow nerds at Shaftesbury. Christina Jennings, who created that company, is just she's like a nuclear power plant. You know, she's just got so much energy and she just gets stuff done, and she's just like, here, go do that, let's go. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And it's amazing. So I can't wait to dive in and do some creative stuff with them on Thursday. I'm hoping they're going to keep me busy for a bit over the summer. I hope so. We'll see. And that's it. So there you go. Sweaty or not. Until we geek again. Cheerio! I gotta go play with Bradlett now. Whatever he's up to. Probably something very educational.